let's start with the one that got everyone on Twitter rolling, as you usually do. Listen, Grant, people listen to what Grant Coe says, whether they agree or disagree. I'd like to say I'm always in favor that I agree with you. You're my boy. But, Grant, you had the story breaking Jamal Adams, the 49ers, quote-unquote, picking up steam. I think first and foremost, let's get some clarity. What do you mean by picking up steam? Is this thing actually coming pretty close to fruition, or it just conversation starting to arrive? What do you exactly mean by that?
Yeah, that's all I heard, is that it's picking up steam. And the way I interpret it is that, not that it's going to happen this week, but that both sides are interested and they're starting to figure out the logistics of it. Now, I think a lot of teams are interested and a lot of teams are doing their due diligence, but I think it's a good sign that the 49ers recognize that he could upgrade their roster and at least kind of figure out, like, what it would take. Because if they didn't make the inquiry and find out at least what picks would be required, I would think, like, what the hell is going on? I mean, you inquired about Tom Brady, who's 43 years old, but you won't look into Jamal Adams. It seems like it's a no-brainer, and I think they understand that too. So I'm not saying it's going to happen in the next few days, but it seems like the wheels are starting to go in motion.
How much better does Jamal Adams make the 2020 49ers? Let's take what they have to give up or what they would have to pay down the line out of the equation for now. Just Jamal Adams on the 2020 Niners, how much better are they for that?
I think they would go from being maybe the fourth or fifth best team in the NFL, a team that's clearly not quite good enough to beat the Chiefs if they were to face again. I mean, they gave up 31 points against that offense. I think they would go from being that team, the contender, to being the favorite. I think Jamal Adams would make them the odds-on favorite, better than the Chiefs. I think he would give them the kind of all-pro DB you need to combat these modern high-flying offenses, passing games like Kansas City. I think he's so good. I mean, he can cover. You can play him in the back end, but you can also play him close to the line of scrimmage, and he can blitz. He does so. I mean, Jaquaski Tartt's solid. Nothing against Jaquaski Tartt, but you'd be going from a solid player to a playmaker, which is a big difference. Jaquaski Tartt never makes the play where you're like, yeah, that play right there is the reason the Niners won the game. He might not be the reason they lose it, but he's rarely the reason they win it, and I think Jamal Adams is the kind of guy who could be the reason they win a game once a month, kind of like Nick Bosa.
So that leads me to my next question, Grant. Since JD said don't factor in what it would take to give up to get Jamal Adams, in your opinion, what do you think it will take?
Yeah, I think the Jets, well, let's look at it this way. The Niners just traded Buckner for first. Jamal Adams is even younger. Is he better than Buckner? Maybe not, but they're both all-pro level players. So I think the Jets would want at least a first-round pick and probably will hold out for a first and a second. Since there's no real deadline approaching anytime soon, they can wait and see if a better offer comes. I'm imagining the Niners, any team would probably start by offering a first and a player or a first and a fourth and see where you could go from there. What the Niners could do is offer their first-round pick in 2021 and then a second or a third in 2022. I think that would be an interesting way to kind of make a compromise with the Jets, and I think the Jets might be interested in that. And I think if the Niners don't do it, you got to worry about the Seahawks swooping in at the end, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, any NFC team, because you put Jamal Adams on the Seahawks, now they might be the favorite to win the NFC West, or same goes for the Cowboys with the NFC. So I think it's something that may not be that expensive. I mean, he's worth the first-round pick, and then the second-round pick that you might give up in 2022 is expensive, but you could get some value back by trading Jaquaski Tartt. He would bring back probably a third-round pick, and I think that would be pretty much worth it. I would do it. I would pull the trigger. What would you do, Nash?
Honestly, I think you got to do whatever you got to do to bring this guy in. I mean, sure, you're going to give up draft equity down the road, but honestly, Grant, I mean, this is a guy that's probably the best safety in football, and guess what? You were 6 minutes away from winning the Super Bowl, and you didn't win the Super Bowl because a guy named Tyreek Hill had a little deep 20-yard out route down the field that got you the first down. You have Jamal Adams. Maybe he stops that play, and maybe the 49ers win the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other great thing about getting him is beyond his age, he's only 24, he's actually kind of cheap. Like the
original deal, right?
Yeah, the Jets would have to pay for a bunch of his money. If the Niners cut Jaquaski Tartt and trade for Jamal Adams, they would actually save money than if they just kept Jaquaski Tartt and played him in 2020. Actually,
wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. So there's really no reason not to do it. It's a flat-out no-brainer. But I think the Niners are going to be smart. You don't just call the Jets and say, whatever you want, we'll give you. You find out and you say, okay, well, what about a first and a fourth? And the Jets say no, and you wait. So I think John Lynch and the 49ers are probably handling it the right way.